Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's good to see new faces and old faces alike. You're all welcome to our series. So far, alhamdulillah ta'ala, we have discussed the concept of Tawheed. We've talked about the three categories of Tawheed. We talked about the meaning of our kalima. And we talked about the conditions of our kalima. What is our kalima of faith, people? La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we said there are 7 conditions to La ilaha illallah. Because Wahab ibn Munabbih, one of the tabi'un, or one of the tabi'un rather, the students of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, a man came to him and asked him, that isn't La ilaha illallah the key to paradise? That I have La ilaha illallah and I can unlock the doors, the gates to Jannah? And Wahab replied, yes, you are correct. However, every key has ridges, every key has teeth. Similarly, our kalima has conditions which must be met. If these conditions are not met, then the door to Jannah will simply not open. So call out whatever condition you remember. We should all add up to 7, inshallah ta'ala. So who remembers all 7 or at least one or a couple of them?
Sincerity.
Sincerity, al-ikhlas. Excellent.
No change in the kalma.
No change in the kalima is not a condition.
Belief.
Belief, no.
Certainty.
Certainty, excellent. Al-yaqeen. So ikhlas, yaqeen. So a person should accept the kalima with pure, sincere faith. He is not or she is not adulterating their belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with anything else. So I'm not becoming Muslim or I'm not calling myself Muslim because of societal pressure, because there is pressure from my family, because my dad is telling me to pray, so I am praying. No, I'm praying because Allah has commanded me to pray. I am praying 5 times a day because when I am 6 feet under, the first affair, the first thing that I will be questioned about will be my prayer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of His commandment, I am praying. Okay? So ikhlas, sincerity. Al-yaqeen, to have complete certainty in this iman. I'm not doubting, is the messenger really the messenger of God? Is the Quran really truthful? No. I am 100% certain that this is a man sent from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This book came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-yaqeen, excellent. Next. Qabool, I accept this kalima as my way of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me to uphold the rights of family, I uphold the rights of family. Allah told me to adhere to the 5 pillars of Islam, I adhere to the 5 pillars of Islam. I accept it. Alright? Now in every single one of these conditions, you are a judge of your own self. How much are you perfecting this condition when it comes to the kalima? Ask yourself this question. An honest question. You shouldn't ask anybody else but your own self. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told me not to engage in that kind of relationship. Am I still engaging in that relationship? Allah told me not to look for that type of job or that kind of business, but I'm still getting into that kind of business. Am I really accepting the kalima in my life? Every single one of us should ask ourselves. So, condition number 4. Come on, people. Condition number 4.
Submit to Allah.
Submitting. Jazakallahu khair. Submission. So this is similar to acceptance, but now it is one step above. Because once you accept, somebody can say, I accept all of these things, but you know what, brother, I don't pray. No, you must now submit. I give up all of my own desires for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded me with. An inqiyad. Okay? This is submission. That was what, 4 or 5 people? That was 4? Okay, 3 more to go.
Being truthful in
Being truthful, Jazakallahu khair. Be truthful. As-sidq. As-sidq. I am truthful to what I'm saying. There's no lies about this. I'm not saying it to show off. I'm not saying it to look good. I'm not saying it so that I can get brownie points from whomever. No. I am truthful to Allah and His Messenger, to this religion of Islam. Excellent. Sixth.
Knowledge.
Excellent. Knowledge, ilm. This is the very reason all of us are here together. We are seeking knowledge of this kalima. Al-ilm. Very good. Number 7. Those smart brothers taking notes on their phones. Where are your notes now, huh? Where are your notes? Where's the search function?
Love.
I'm taking notes on my phone, when I'm taking notes. Are you WhatsApping or Facebooking? What are you doing? Love. Jazakallah khair. Love. Al-mahabba. Having love for the people. Al-hub. Okay? Having love for the people of this religion, but that comes after. First comes love for this deen. You love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You love His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and therefore you love its people. You do not hate those who adhere to this kalima. Excellent. So these are the 7 conditions of the kalima. Now every single Muslim will not be quizzed what are the conditions of La ilaha illallah before you enter Jannah. This quiz is not going to happen in your grave. It's not going to happen when you enter Jannah. It's your outlook on life. It's your outlook when it comes to your adherence and your devotion, your commitment to this religion of Islam. Is that clear, people? So these 7 conditions come into place. So inshallah ta'ala, in today's series, or in today's lecture, we will touch upon the meaning of ibadah. Alright? What does ibadah mean? And what are the conditions of ibadah? So far we have understood our beliefs when it comes to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We've talked about Allah's lordship. We've talked about the meaning of a Rabb. We've talked about how believing in Allah as a Rabb necessitates believing therefore in Him as your God that you worship, the one you revere, the one that you turn to. That rububiyyah necessitates uluhiyyah, otherwise it makes no logical sense. And we understood that, and we cited those ayat that the mushrikun of old, the pagan Arabs, believed in Allah as a Rabb. Yet that logical conclusion didn't take place. That if there's this all-powerful deity you're believing is the one sending water from the skies, is the one who is the Lord of the majestic throne, He is the one who gives life, He is the one who gives death. You believe in all of these things, yet you do not submit to Him. It doesn't make sense. So, believing in Allah as a Rabb necessitates what? Uluhiyyah. Believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the one whom you turn to. Now comes the concept of ibadah. Ibadah. What does ibadah therefore mean? And I'll ask you guys. Just call it out. What do you think ibadah means?
Acts of worship.
I heard acts of worship. Okay.
Act of being grateful. Showing being grateful, like being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Being grateful to Allah. Okay.
Obedience.
Obedience. Okay.
Submission.
Submitting. These are all types of ibadah. Excellent. They are types of, but what is ibadah? Yes, sir.
Connecting with Allah.
Connecting with Allah. Okay.
Something that Allah has asked us to do.
Something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to do. Very good.
Fulfill the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Fulfill commandments. Okay.
Way of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay. Very good. Any other thoughts? What do you say?
It's a pillar of.
It's a pillar? Ibadah? No, it's not a pillar, but ibadah. So what does ibadah actually mean? Ibadah is a comprehensive term. Okay, you should all understand this. Those who can write, have the capacity to write, please write this down. What is ibadah? Ibadah, literally, yes, it translates, as Brother Mutahir said, to worship, but what does worship mean? If somebody asks you what is worship, and a person will say, I don't know what worship means. Worship, okay, you believe in a God and you do, and then you start mentioning the types of worship. But what does ibadah actually mean? So ibadah is a comprehensive term. This is how the scholars of Islam have defined it. Ibadah is a comprehensive term that entails everything Allah has commanded us to do and keeping away from everything Allah has forbidden for us to do. This is what is ibadah. Now the scholars also mention something interesting. They say ibadah therefore has a psychological state and it has a physical state. What is a psychological state? Psychological state would be your niyyah. You see, Muslims are supposed to be the foremost thinkers. You don't just take everything, listen to everything, okay, I want to yawn 2 times and then go home. No, you're supposed to use your brain. You're supposed to think deeply. The Quran is meant for reflection. Think about these things. Oh man, these are things you shouldn't say to yourself. The scholars, this is the job of the scholars. I'm a businessman, I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm an engineer, I'm this, that. I don't have to bother about these things. No, you should think. Take a step back. Think about the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. Wow, it should make you reflect, it should make you ponder. So ibadah really has a psychological state. Yes, it does have a psychological state. The first hadith in Sahih Bukhari, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. What is niyyah? Is it a physical state? It's a mental state. Niyyah, to have intention, to intend something. So ibadah has a psychological state and it has a physical state. Psychological state, you have the niyyah to do good. You have the niyyah to, maybe it's winter now, you wanted to shovel your neighbor's driveway along with yours, just out of pure goodness of your heart. That became ibadah. And even if you were not able to do so, do you get the reward for it? But you never did it. You intended to do it. So it became ibadah, people. Yet it was never manifested physically, was it? It was never. So your psychological state of being, you have the intention to please Allah. You have the intention to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it becomes ibadah. That's why you see, you cannot just give it a one line or one word. Maybe you can give it a one-line definition, but not a one-word definition. That's how majestic, that's how deep, that's how profound this religion of Islam is. And this is what you guys need to appreciate about our faith. And subhanAllah, if there's nothing else you'll take from this course or this program, at least if you take the fact that my religion is so amazing. There ain't no religion on the face of the earth that is so profound, that makes so much sense, that everything, subhanAllah, makes so much sense, has so much depth to it as my faith of Islam. And subhanAllah, the objective of this course is met. That you have that confidence in your faith. Now nobody comes and tells you any kind of jargon and then you say, oh, you know what, I don't know, should I leave my religion? Don't let anybody cast doubts in your heart where you start doubting, questioning, feeling bad, feeling apologetic for your faith. No, we're not apologetic for our faith. We're confident Muslims. We love this faith. We appreciate the depth of this faith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, really? For something I never did, Allah will give me full marks for it? Try that on an exam. That you go to an exam, and you made full niyyah to answer every single question. But time ran out. And you were able to answer just 20 out of 700. And at what percentage are you going to get? And you went to the teacher and you said, Professor, but I had every niyyah. Oh man, I was so khalis. I had so much sincerity in answering every question. Are you going to get your points? You're not going to get your points, man. Try that at your workplace. The boss tells you this is the deadline and you're like, yeah, I had the niyyah to meet the deadline, man, but I forgot the client meeting, I didn't come. Or maybe I was attending the client meeting, but you know what, my car broke down and I couldn't make it. How many times, sir? You know, the world doesn't work like that, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives you and keeps giving you. And you know what's remarkable? Hadith is mentioned, recorded by Imam al-Nawawi. Beautiful hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin. And this hadith, every single time, and you've all heard this hadith, you come across it, you think about it, you can't help but appreciate and fall down in prostration, in gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever makes the intention of doing a good deed and follows it up with completing that good deed, he has not just a good deed, one full good deed written for him, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies it from 10 all the way to 700 times. So you intended to pray, and you did wudu, and you were able to pray, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. Now you intended to do an evil deed, and then you stopped yourself from doing that evil deed. You stopped yourself. Allah will write for you what? 0, meaning you're not good, you're not bad. You know what? You're okay. Is that what Allah will do? No. Allah will write one full good deed. You have the full intention. And Allah protect us, but the full intention to go and rob someone. And you made sure you've done everything, your tires are all, you got special winter tires for that purpose. It's, my car's not going to skid off when I'm going to rob this person. And you've done all of that stuff. And then at the end of the day, you decide, what am I thinking? How can I do this? What an evil crime. I'm not a criminal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His fear comes in your heart, and you stop doing it. You get one full good deed. Wow. And what about a person who intends to do an evil deed? So he wanted to rob this person. He goes and commits that evil. Will Allah write for him? Because if you look at it in principle, when you do a good deed, you have a niyyah of doing a good deed, you go and actually commit the good deed, you do something physically, it's multiplied how many times? 700 times to even Allah knows best, infinitely many times. So the principle should apply here with bad deeds too, correct? That you plan to do something bad and you end up doing that bad deed, you should be punished, or it should be written down 700 bad deeds, correct? But no, Allah is going to write one bad deed for you. SubhanAllah. This is the generosity, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. So the point being that ibadah is a comprehensive term that entails every single thing that Allah has commanded me to do, I do it. And that every single thing Allah has told me to stay away from, I abstain from it. I run away from it. So this is the meaning of ibadah. And ibadah, the one who then does this ibadah, becomes an abd of Allah, becomes a slave of Allah. I went into a long discussion in one of these days, or one of those series, mentioning why we don't say servant of Allah. We don't serve Allah, we are slaves of Allah, and nothing is more prestigious, nothing has a better rank than being in the slavery of the King of Kings, of Rabbul Alameen Himself. So we are not going to be politically correct and say, servant of God. No, we're not servant of God. We are slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are two conditions for ibadah. Please remember this and memorize this. If I am now going to do an act of worship, it should be directed only and only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Correct? Only to Allah. He is my Rabb. I have affirmed this. I have accepted this. And therefore He is my Ilah. All my acts of worship will be directed to Him. Now I gotta be careful that there are circumstances, there are ways that come about when my act of worship will not be accepted by Allah. It's possible. And what a great loss this will be. And Allah describes the plight of such people on the day of resurrection. When they come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they had nothing with them. And they thought that they had piles upon piles, mountains upon mountains of good deeds, but they will be converted to haba'an manthura. They will be converted to blown away dust on a windy day. Nothing will be with them. We gotta be careful that we're not from such people. What are the two conditions? Comes back to one of the conditions of La ilaha illallah itself. And that is al-ikhlas. To be sincere for the sake of Allah. Sincerity. And number two, al-ittiba'. Ittiba' meaning conformity. To conform. Not confirm. C-O-N-F-O-R-M. Okay? To conform. Conformity. Conforming to what? Who can help me? Thank you. Conforming to the way, the methodology, the understanding, the practice, the advice, the method of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Salat al-Dhuhr is how many raka'at, people? 4. But I love Allah so much. I want to make it 5. Can I do that? I cannot do that. Because then it will not be accepted in the sight of God. Tawaf is how many times around the Kaaba? But I want to do it 15. Right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I'm just feeling energetic, man. 15. No. It has to be ittiba' of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Is that clear? So never ever forget this. Never ever forget this. And there are many, many ahadith to back this up. Okay, many ayat of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to follow the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. That indeed in the example of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is your best role model. It's your best role model. Why are you planning or trying to find role models elsewhere? Okay? So ittiba' of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So now, brothers and sisters and my elders, ask yourself, what are some of the things that we are engaged in, that we indulge in, that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam never taught us? There are many touchy topics, sensitive issues that come in, but ask yourself a very valid question. Do I want to stand in front of Allah on Yawmul Qiyamah, and Allah will say, all of these actions you are doing, they're all going to be turned to dust. They're all rubbish. They're all turned to garbage because you did not follow just these 2 things I asked you for. Have sincerity for me and do it according to the way that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught you. Ask yourself, am I willing to take that big gamble? The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, hadith in Sahih Bukhari, "Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa raddun." Whoever adds to this affair, this matter of ours, i.e. the religion of Islam, man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu. Whoever adds something into it that is not from it, fahuwa raddun. That will be rejected. It is a radd. There is no ifs and buts. Let's debate, oh, you know what, you prayed 5 raka'at of dhuhr all the time, you were awesome and you had sincerity for God. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, you know what, okay, you know what, I accept it. No. Who told you to invent something that is not in the faith? And this is where the issue of bid'ah comes in. Bid'ah. Bid'ah means to invent, to make something and add it to the faith, hoping to come closer to God. This is what bid'ah means. Please understand this. The definition of bid'ah is that you do an action not found in the practice of the Prophet, peace be upon him, hoping to come closer to Allah. Because someone may say, but my use of my cell phone is a bid'ah. Brother, can I go into an airplane and not a donkey, not ride a camel like the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did? Is this bid'ah? No, you genius. Because am I boarding the plane to come closer to God? No. Am I thinking that by turning on my car's ignition, I am doing an act of worship? No. It's just something that is a regular part of life. So as technology moves ahead, as our lifestyles change, that's fine. It can change. Bid'ah comes in when you are doing it as an act of worship, hoping to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is bid'ah. Is this clear, people? Is it clear? This is what bid'ah is. So now we have to ask ourselves sincere questions. And there are very sensitive issues. In my family, very close, subhanAllah, I've had deaths also in my family. So I know exactly how touchy topics become when it comes to reciting the Quran. Should we do a Quran Khani or should we do the Quran Khani? And you ask yourself, did the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sanction such an action? Did the Rasul, peace be upon him, tell people if it was that necessary? You think the Rasul forgot? SubhanAllah, it is a heinous, it is a criminal thing to even say that the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam forgot something to convey from Allah to us. This is actually an allegation against the Rasul, that the Rasul, you didn't do your job. A'udhu billah. That Allah trusts the messenger. Jibreel trusts the messenger. And here we are, we're not going to trust the messenger. A'udhu billah. What is God doing to us? So there are things that we end up doing, and then we think, nah man, there has to be something more. There's something more I want to do for my parent who has passed away. Really, I can't do this, I can't do that. SubhanAllah, go and look at the authentic teachings of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Amongst the plethora of things, amongst the variety of things that the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has sanctioned, has allowed that we can do for our deceased, for our loved ones who have passed on to the next life, that we are hung up on a few traditional things, traditions and cultural things. And then we think that, it's bringing about good for the dead. No, always seek ilm. Ask yourself. Because we're not willing to make salat al-dhuhr 5 raka'at, but yet we're willing to add things into the deen that are not part of it. So what to do in such situations? If you are from those people, desist immediately. Let go of those habits. Let go of those things. When my grandmother, to share a personal story with you, when my paternal grandmother passed away, rahmahullah, I was telling my uncle that this is an opportunity to educate the family members, educate them about what the true teachings of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam are when it comes to our adab and akhlaq with those who have passed away. Use this opportunity to educate them, to teach them. Use this opportunity to talk about life after death. And the response I got was, no, this is tradition. What are the people going to say? What are they going to say? And with my own two eyes, what am I seeing? The smoker is still smoking outside, and then he comes in, recites the Quran, and then there's food being served. SubhanAllah. What have you done? What have you achieved through this? SubhanAllah. We should ask ourselves a very sincere question. That the recitation of the Quran in certain cultures is taken as something so paramount that people ask very common sense question. They say that if reciting the Quran is the way that a person is going to get into Jannah, then only the rich will go to Jannah. Us poor people will never go. Because in those cultures, they see that the son or the daughter, every single day, for the next 40 days or for the next 4 months, every single day, one Quran is being completed. And this person pays those who come and recite. So how many Qurans, people? 40, 50, 500, 1,000 Qurans? Man, I'm poor. I can't afford to pay, $1,000 every single day. So that means I'm not going to go to Jannah? No, it's a valid question. Is this what our deen came to teach us? So the point is that seek ilm, seek knowledge. What is it that we can actually do for our deceased? What is it that we can actually do to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So what are the two conditions of ibadah, people? Ikhlas and conformity. We must have sincerity for the sake of Allah, and it must be in accordance to the teaching of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And within the teaching of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and that's why the class that I taught on salah, on prayer, we have a lot of questions with regards to the nafil prayer and then the sunnah prayers and what is the mu'akkad prayers, what are the ghayr mu'akkad prayers, and all of these things, what is actually cultural, what is actually rooted in the authentic texts of the religion. And there are many such things that come to light that you're just like surprised, subhanAllah, wow, what was I doing all this time? So it just goes to show that knowledge is something that a person must keep on seeking all the way until the grave. Now, let's talk about someone who, inshallah ta'ala, we should all strive to be like. Remember a long time ago we talked about the Muslim, the mu'min, and the muhsin, right? So mundane, day-to-day natural things that we do. You get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you go to work, you come back, or you go to school, you come back, you take some rest, time for prayer, you're doing your prayer, you're doing all the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told you to do. That's great. But that is a very basic level, where a person has this clear distinction between these are my mu'amalat and these are my ibadat. These are my day-to-day dealings and these are my religious or my rituals with God. Right? There's that clean, nice, distinctive, demarcated line that you have in your mind. That this is the rights of Allah, this is the rights of creation. I'm going to live my life like this. That's all fine and good. But realize, if you want to get to the next level of Iman, then this line should not exist. Your mu'amalat become acts of ibadat. How? You get up in the morning and you have the niyyah that I'm going to work in order to gain halal income to feed my family with, becomes an act of worship. I am being rewarded for every single second, moment, hour that I am at my 8-hour shift or 15 hours or however much you work. Becomes an act of ibadah. You get the nice grocery list from the wife. You have to go, in the cold winter night because tomorrow is a work day. And oh my God, there's no groceries at home. Whining all the way, and then you get there and you pick up the items and half the list you've forgotten, and you get home and all that stuff happens. You could do that, which is fine, but then you could convert that to ibadah. That I got this grocery list, I'm doing this, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that by eating this, the halal food that you've given me, that I'll be able to stand in worship. That this food I will be able to use for suhoor, during the month of Ramadan, for example. Or if you're keeping nafil fasts. So all that time you spent grocery shopping, all became as though you are worshipping Allah. You see how you can convert every single mundane action, day-to-day natural things that you do, to ibadah. Do you understand that? So this is where the beauty of our religion comes in. That even the gas that keeps on, getting hyped up every now and then, every single liter that's being burnt in your car, will keep adding to your good deeds. SubhanAllah. This is where the mu'min and the muhsin differ from the basic Muslim. And what is the proof for this? Remember I said every single thing a person says, they should provide proof for this. Our beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam was asked by one of the Sahaba, O Messenger of Allah, we do not have money to give in charity that the rich people do. The rich people, they're spending left, right, and center. We don't have that kind of money. So how are we going to accumulate good deeds? We'll never be able to surpass these guys because they're rich. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't you know that smiling in the face of your brother is an act of charity? That when you pour your bucket of water into the bucket of your neighbor, that is an act of sadaqah. That feeding your wife is an act of sadaqah. Subhanallah. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us normal day-to-day things. And the pouring the bucket of water into your neighbor's bucket, that was a normal thing for them. It's kind of like how you go, maybe to Timmy's, every morning, just to contextualize for you guys, you're getting your cup of coffee, and you decide that, my neighbor coincidentally is behind me, or my coworker or whatever, and I buy a cup of coffee for him or her. SubhanAllah, that becomes an act of worship. Smiling in the face of your brother becomes an act of worship. So, this is the proof that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us how you can change the most normal things for you that you do to acts of worship. Allahu Akbar. It is great, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And that's why even parenting, sometimes as difficult as parenting gets, alhamdulillah, you see my son is not here today, because we see how difficult it gets sometimes during the dars. And then you're wondering that, man, as difficult as it gets, but you make your niyyah, Ya Allah, these are gifts that you've given to me. Ya Allah, they belong to you, and to you is their return. I was just reflecting upon this yesterday, and it kind of shook me. I was thinking every single night, we put our kids to bed, and we think to ourselves, wow, subhanAllah, I'm going to have my time. Phew, they've slept. Now it's my time. But then I was just thinking, subhanAllah, we're so certain that they'll wake up in the morning. May Allah give all of us good lives and righteous lives and long lives for us, our kids and all of them. But just like us who know that maybe we're not going to wake up in the morning, so is the situation with our kids too. That it's to Allah they belong. And to Him is not just their return, but all of us our return. Am I prepared? Am I doing my part? My son, my daughter is a teenager. My son, my daughter is now an adult. Am I confident that if I am to return to Allah, that I can say, Ya Allah, I taught my son, my daughter, the things that you've commanded us with. That I am confident, Ya Allah, I don't know the future, but inshallah, my son, my daughter, these are upright Muslims. Do I have that confidence? So we should always be in, it's not to say that Muslims are very morbid, all they think about is death, death, death. No, but we should have this, sanity, or you should have this check. You should have this priority check. That how much am I keeping Allah in front of me when I do every single thing. And then you will realize that this is how the Rasul operated. Every single thing for him was ibadah. Every single thing, even the most normal thing that you and I would do, not even thinking of Allah in that moment, that turns to ibadah. You think about brushing, for example. How would brushing your teeth become an act of ibadah? How?
Miswak.
Using miswak? Should use my toothbrushes, my regular Colgate toothbrushes, bid'ah.
You clean yourself, intend to go to the masajid, if they clean.
Jazakallah khair. You're cleaning yourself, you're going to go to the masjid, you want to present yourself before Allah, becomes act of ibadah. Maybe brushing your teeth, that Ya Allah, these teeth you've given to me. SubhanAllah, how many are the people that really, it's not a matter of joke, that sometimes they're being told by the dentist that they have so many cavities, they have to be taken out, and things like that. But you have those teeth, that you praise Allah, you thank Him, that your body has a right over you, that you take care of your body. That becomes an act of ibadah. Just that, Ya Allah, thank you for this body. That's okay. Alhamdulillah, I thank you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is where the difference between the Muslim, the regular Muslim, and the mu'min and the muhsin comes forth. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll come to a close here. If you have any questions, then we can open the floor to questions, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.